So I'm 100% convinced, and I might be wrong, but the good news is a lot of people have been wrong, but I am very, very convinced that Jerome Powell and his colleague, they want the R word. They want it, and they're just not being honest with us. And you know what the R word is? A recession. They want a recession. I'm telling you, that is what they want. But I just want to go through something real quick. And this is why I believe they want a recession. They know what is going on. They are well aware of the problems. They are well aware of the bullshit jobs report and the bullshit inflation report and all this stuff. They're well aware that car insurance is a huge factor and it's gone up. They're not stupid. They're also well aware that 40% of you until coming up in October are not paying your student loans. They're aware that the report just came out that 6% of you are delinquent on your credit card debt. That's $1 trillion. They're aware the last time we hit over 4%, 5% was in 2008. Let me ask you one question. You answer this because I cannot find an answer for this. Nobody's been able to answer this. Supposedly, according to Jerome Powell and our government, we have a robust economy. We have record low unemployment. People are making money. People are spending money. But here's what I don't understand. If everything was so great, why is the government not balanced? Why can't they balance a budget? Why can the average person not balance their budget? Folks, they're living off credit card debt. We are living off credit in this country. If it was so great and unemployment's so low, you do realize that when unemployment's low and economy's booming, usually we have a surplus and we actually save money and pay down debt as a government, as a country. Folks, we are not doing that. If it's so good right now, why are 6% of people delinquent on credit cards? And that's the one question I have to ask you is, how in the world are you supposed to tell me the 6% is not going to go to 8 or 9%? And how are those people going to catch up? Because these people are W-2'd. Are they in sales jobs? Can they make more money? Are they stuck in a salary? I just don't know. You tell me, how do we unwind this? The only thing I see is the other side of this is a recession. How is this going to get better if unemployment over time we're supposed to get is going to get worse? If you put a gun to Jerome Powell's head and said, do you think the rate of unemployment is going to go higher or lower in the next 2 years? What do you think he's going to say? Higher. So what do you think about credit card delinquencies? Why doesn't he answer that? Because they don't want to answer that. Because we have to have a recession. They need a recession. They need to reset all these prices, these crazy prices we're paying. And what does this have to do anything with housing? Because my friends, you and I that are trying to buy a home, we're trying to refinance, we're trying to buy an investment property or commercial property or anything in real estate, doesn't matter. We all right? We want them to cut rates. We want lower rates because this is choking us. And the only way to get lower rates is used to be we had to be in line with the PC, the Fed rate and the PC. That's out. What it is now is they clearly want a recession. They want job loss, and we're not there. So are we waiting for unemployment to go over 4% to get our rate cut? Mr. Jerome Powell, can you please answer our question? I would love to be able to ask him some questions because I would love to hear the answers. But that's what where are we at? What are we doing? Because we all want lower rates. We all want the cost of money to go down. And the only way to do that right now that I see is a major job loss recession, or we have to have a recession as well because we need inflation to come down. The only way you're going to get consumer price stuff down is inflation, where people stop shopping and buying. And the only way people are surviving right now, folks, is credit cards. They're tapping in their home equity lines of credit, right? They are living this life and it's being financed. Same as the government. Hey, welcome back, everybody. If it's your first time here, my name is Kenny Simpson. If this is your 10th time here, welcome back. This is what we call the brief. If we've never met, I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. Been doing this for about 20 years. Crazy, helped over 5,000 clients. So if I can help you, let me know. If this is your 10th, 20, 30th time watching and hanging out, I appreciate you coming back. Sorry for my little rant, but hey, I'm super frustrated about interest rates. I'm super concerned about going to recession, and we're starting to see the data is starting to rear its head. And maybe Jerome Powell is just waiting until after election to say we're in a recession or this. Are we even going to make it that long? Because we've got May, June, July, August, September, October, November. We've got at least a solid 6 months till we get there. Let's see what happens. But speaking of seeing what happens, I've actually got some good news. It's not anything great or incredible or we're going to have a party, but something happened last week. We broke something for the first time in a long time. My buddy Logan over at Housingwire was really excited what happened. And I'm guessing you're wondering, Kenny, what do we always talk about first? Inventory. So nationally, we finally got between the range where Logan was. And why do I use Logan? Because Logan's the housing guy. And Mike over there, Altos Research, they're the housing gurus. They're the guys. They're the data nerds. They watch and study and breathe this so you and I don't have to. They make us look good. They make Lee look good on this camera because they just bring the data. And I've been watching Logan over and week after week, we got to hit this from 11,000 to 17,000. Well, folks, last week, nationally, we had 526,000. This week, drum roll, 543, 16,000 new listings for the week. Logan, he is excited, but unfortunately, that excitement only lasts so long because it's only 16,000. It's not enough, but hey, we're making some progress. So that is good news. We will take good news when we can get it because it's important. Still not good inventory, but that's what it is. So we're at 543,044. And if you're wondering, hey, Kenny, what was the peak in 2023? Like, because we're getting close to summer and that's when we peak, right? Yes. What was the peak for a week? Like, what was the best week? Glad you asked that question. And let me tell you, it was 569,898. So we are close. So if we keep going up like this by summer peak, which is, I believe, July-ish, we will be there. So what's happening home here in San Diego, where I'm shooting this, where I'm from, where I live and work? New listings, 580. Listings sold for 13. Active listings. Are we still above 3,000? Ladies and gentlemen, yes. 3311. Why am I saying yes? Because we need inventory. It's not helping. Higher rates, no inventory. It's not helping. And a Fed that's stubborn, that doesn't want to look forward. So speaking of interest rates, speaking of the Fed, the 10-year Treasury just hovering, guys. We're not getting an improvement there. We still have the spread that came down between the 10-year, 30-year fix, which I've been over week after week. That got better. But look, a lot of data this week, a lot of stuff going on. But honestly, that 10-year stuck. That 10-year is sitting like this, like a little dog by the bowl, just waiting to feed, just waiting for some data so he can cut. Or is he really waiting? Or do you think he's just going to push it off past the election and just say, screw it? I don't know. I just don't know. But I know one thing. And I might be wrong, but I'll tell you, I really, really believe that this Fed is already going to be late to cutting. And I can't wait because I have all these videos and all this stuff. Because if he's late, what do you know? He was late last time by a year. I think he's late. I think he's going to have to do a lot of catching up. So what does that mean? At some point, people, in the near future, when the data gets worse and worse, he will cut. We still will see inflation come down. We will see job losses go up, which sucks. But you know what? What you and I really want to see is real estate come alive and get some decent interest rates. We're just talking decent. We're not talking great. And we'll see rates come down because that naturally is going to happen. But we have to be patient and sit here because there is so much stupid money going around the system. It's killing everything. So busy week. What do we got? We've got data for new home sales, GDP, pending home sales, retail sales, wholesale inventories, personal income, spending, core PC, what the Feds look at, index, consumer pricing. Holy smokes. Last week, housing starts. That means when they start a house building, it was down 12.4%. What is that telling you? Sniffing. Builders are getting a little bit concerned. Builders are kind of like, how we doing? And look, guys, at some point, psychologically, people just start going, where are we at? What are we doing? They start losing hope and faith. Builders do too. What are we going to do? I don't know, but that's not a good number. That means we have less inventory. That means we're going to have more problems in the future. Enough of that boring stuff. Let's jump into some fun articles that I came up with. So this one's for your grandma, your grandparents, maybe you, and maybe you're realizing this. Retiring at the age of 65 in this article with Housingwire is no longer feasible. Nationwide surveyed included 518 financial advisors and 2346 investors with assets over $10,000. Demographics, 391 pre-retirees aged of 55 to 65, subsets of 346 single and 726 married women. Retirement age norms, 70% of pre-retirees believe retiring at age 65 is unfeasible. Did you hear that? 70% of pre-retirees believe retiring at 65 is unfeasible. Increased challenges, 67% of retirees expect more difficult retirements compared to previous generations. Financial strategy. 41% plan to work during retirement for extra income. 27% intend to live frugally to achieve retirement goals. 22% expect to retire later than initially planned due to changes in the past year. Rising cost inflation. 42% report difficulties in managing daily expectations. 27% saving less for retirement due to inflation. 57% see inflation as the biggest immediate challenge to their retirement funds. 41% are cutting back on non-essential spending items like vacation. Social Security concerns. 38% lack confidence in Social Security's viability. 43% rely less on Social Security than before. 27% anticipate receive less than Social Security benefits than expected. So what does this all mean? Basically, they did a survey that a lot of people just feel like they're not prepared for retirement and they don't know what to do. So retiring at 65 is no longer possible. But remember, if you're in your 20s and 30s and you're watching this, you have a long runway until retirement. What are some of the things you can do? Obviously, you can put money in a 401k, an IRA, right? Your job might match it. You can also put money in crypto, buy different stocks, things like that, right? They did the normal stuff. But what a lot of people are going to do right now is a lot of retired people have free and clear homes. So in 30 years, you could actually pay off your home and then you could do a reverse mortgage, which would help, mend the gap here. So if somebody's short $1,000, $2,000, you can get money back, maybe have no payment. So one of the things I would focus on if I was somebody young is I'd say, hey, maybe I'm not trying to be some crazy entrepreneur or buy a bunch of stuff, but what if I paid off my mortgage? What if I bought a 4-unit or bought a piece of property and paid that off? That is extra money. I know people here in San Diego, in California, it's expensive. They worked as teachers. They bought an investment property. They paid it off of their lifetime. They've got their pensions. It's not great. But then they have this 4-unit, 8-unit, 6-unit, 5-unit, whatever it is, 2-unit free and clear. That's spinning off, a couple thousand to 10,000. That is able to give them that lifestyle to travel, to not stress and that. So I think real estate is a great path to retirement for building wealth. And also when you're done, if it's free and clear, you can just pass to your kids and they can enjoy that fruitfulness of the cash flow and stuff like that. So I think real estate is great. So on top of this stuff, I would definitely focus on real estate. So in this article by NBC News, one of the big things is car insurance is nuts. This is why inflation's high, is because of car insurance. Just ask good old Jerome Buddy Powell over there. It's gone up. Why? Because the cost of an average car has gone up. So when you total that car, the replacement cost isn't 10, 20, 30 grand. The average car is 50,000 smackaroonies, folks. So of course your insurance, just like we're getting whacked in Florida and California, we keep having, floods and fires and hurricanes and wind damage and mudslides and all this stuff, right? That house that used to be worth 500 is worth $1 million. When it burns down, insurance companies are spending more. The cost of goods are more. So insurance is costing more. It's just getting passed to you. Also, insurance providers, if you didn't know, in your car, be careful. I wrote about this article before. There's another article where they actually, depending on what kind of car you have, they're tracking what you're doing. They're tracking how fast you are. Do you run red lights? Do you run stop signs? Do you drive like an a-hole? That means an asshole, people. Okay. Are you doing any of that? Because they're not going to give you a better plan, as in if you're driving like Betty Boo over here that drives nice and the speed limit and stops and all that good stuff. So you should be aware of who's monitoring you, because you are going to start getting charged more based on that. But this article says car insurance premiums have increased 22% over the last year. Payment strategies, paying the annual in full can avoid extra monthly payments. Maybe some challenging for those with tight budget. Maybe they'll give you a better deal if you pay in full. Market conditions. Insurance are adjusting rates that were delayed during the pandemic, even as vehicle prices started to stabilize. So that's what they're saying is insurance companies got behind. They felt bad about the pandemic. But guess what, folks? Now they're sticking it to you. Recent J.D. Powell survey noted the highest monthly rate of consumer shopping for new insurance since 2020. Potential for decreased increases. There's an exception that premium hikes may decrease over time. Finding discounts. Consumers should actively seek discounts from current carriers and through affiliations like professional groups or employers. Large employers often offer Overlooked benefits that can include insurance peak. Defense driving course can save you 10%. Usage-based plans, programs like the National Smart Mile Savings. If you drive less, you get better. Adding a teen to policy is generally cheaper than separate policy, but infractions can increase costs. So that means if your teen goes on, great. As soon as they get in a wreck or do something, your insurance is going through the roof. Good student discounts. High school and college students, for being good, can receive academically. Doing a good job, you can get a discount. Policy review, eliminating redundant coverages and choosing high deductibles can lower premiums, provide an emergency fund. Last but not least is call an insurance broker. They can shop around, find you the best deals. They know where to go. They know what they're doing. That's why they're an insurance broker. That's how they make their money, by finding you the better deal outside of those big companies. So here's 5 scary financial facts that I was reading about. And I was like, I think you guys should know this because it's kind of crazy. Maybe you already know this. Maybe you're dealing with it, but this is some scary stuff here. Fact number 1, 54% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Fact number 2, folks, 61% of Americans cannot take a $1,000 emergency hit. We all knew this because prior to the pandemic, most people ever had their bank account was like $500, right? And then they got all that money and then they spent it. Oh, you should have saved it. Fact number 3, 24% of millennials have a basic financial literacy. Basic, what does that mean? I'm not really sure basic is, but it doesn't sound good. And that's why schools should start implementing programs to fix that. 21% of Americans don't save anything from income. That's not good. And it's hard to. Some places you're just surviving. And number 5, last but not least, 1 in 3 Americans have zero money for retirement. Now, my friends, do you think we should add anything to the list? Comment below, because this is insane. 1 out of 3 have 0% for retirement. We got to do better than this. We really got to step it up. So here's 8 California real estate battles that are worth watching that I just wanted to point out. So if you're in California, these are pretty fascinating. Rent versus buying. Obviously, that's the big debate. High home prices and mortgage rates make renting more appealing financially in the short term, even though buying may offer long-term benefits. Mortgage payments are 2/3 higher than rent in California. Renting currently has a financial advantage. Fed versus inflation. The Federal Reserve efforts to combat high inflation with increased interest rates have had a mixed success. The 30-year mortgage rate is at a 4-month high. The battle against inflation is expected to continue for longer than expected. Not good. Build versus NIMBY. NIMBY stands for not in my backyard. There's a need for more housing, but local opposition complicates development. California's population grew by 6.1% from 2010 to 2020, but housing only 4.7%. Pro-development forces may eventually prevail, but challenges persist. They're talking about adding all these ADUs and stuff like that. That is because we're short housing and they don't have any other options, especially in a place like San Diego. House hunters versus investors. The competition between home buyers and investors has intensified, with investors playing a significant role in driving up home prices. Investors accounted for a record 29% of home purchases in Q4. Little likely change in investors' market access despite legislation scrutiny. Yeah, real estate investors, they buy a lot of stuff. Remember, that's their job. That's how they make money. That's how they keep it going. Do they really have a choice? No, they don't. Realtors versus the DOJ. The Department of Justice reopened its investigation into national home selling practices following a lawsuit settlement involved in the National Association of Realtors. Potential minimum payouts to 21 million U.S. home sellers, 21 million. Outcome could significantly impact the real estate industry. Obviously, you guys heard all about that. That is huge news. It's not really good news because we don't know what's going to happen, but they're supposed to figure it out by July, which is coming up on us quickly, which is crazy. How are we in July? Going to be in July. How are we in almost May? Office space versus work from home. The shift to remote work continues to challenge the commercial real estate market, particularly with office spaces. 46% of workers are on hybrid schedule. Workers favor remote work, impacting office real estate negatively. Yes, a lot of this stuff can be nationally, but we're talking about California, how it's affecting it. Malls versus online shopping. While in-person shopping has seen a resurgence, online shopping remains dominant due to its convenience and pricing. Online shopping accounted for 15.6% of U.S. retail sales at the end of 2023. Online shopping continues to outpace mall visits. Bankers versus risk. Banks remain cautious in lending due to the past recession and perceived risk. 1.2% of California consumers missed a bill payment in Q4. Concerns about risk continue to dominate lending practices. Well, guys, there is your 8. That sums up California real estate battles worth watching. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you're watching my YouTube channel, hey, go check out some of the other videos I'm watching. If I can help you, if you want to talk, reach out, text, email, Zoom, whatever you got, I'm here for you. But hey, I appreciate the support. But do me a huge favor. Click on the like button. Love to hear some comments, and also subscribe to my channel because there's a lot of good content coming. We're putting a lot of time and effort into it. I don't want you to miss out, but do me that huge favor. Also, share this with somebody else that might like this video. Until next time, have a good week, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.